13 WIBW TV, Northeast Kansas news leader. Ralph Hipp, Dave Relihan, and Greg Sharp. This is 13 News Live at 10.
Good evening. When it broke, it was dubbed the tailhook scandal. Top naval brass charged with sexually harassing female officers at an annual hotel convention in Las Vegas. The incident is now considered a blatant example of sexual abuse. It's hit a sensitive nerve with military personnel around the nation. Tonight, 13's Susan Navrat reports how female Kansas Guard members are coping with unwanted advances while working for Uncle Sam.
Aside from the front lines, today's military women work side by side with their male counterparts. From training to field work, this picture is now the norm. But what about the issue of sexual harassment? Is that too the norm in the military? Something women just have to put up with?
People have lost jobs, gotten letters of reprimand. It's not condoned in the Kansas National Guard.
Over the years, a handful of Kansas National Guardsmen have been shown the door because of sexual harassment complaints, kicked out for crossing the line.
It's just a matter of to what extent it happens. Nobody wants harassment to happen to them, but it's just on the context of how one takes it.
You know, these cases come up so often that you get leery. You know, you don't want to complain too much, but you don't want to be taken advantage of.
But all of these women breathe a sigh of relief when they talk about their positive experiences in the Kansas National Guard.
I have never experienced it myself. My 10 years, over 10 years that I've been in, actually, I've worked with a great group of people. I'm sure I've heard rumors, I've known of people, but I've just never had the encounterment, and I hope to never have it.
And so does the Guard. The tailhook scandal has prompted top officials to instigate a training seminar this February, not only to educate possible offenders about sexual harassment, but to back potential victims as well. Susan Navrat, 13 News, Nightside.
Traffic's back to normal tonight after last night's fiery crash on the turnpike. Autopsy results indicate the truck driver who slammed his rig into the toll booth eastern terminal of the turnpike had suffered a massive heart attack shortly before the accident. He was 51-year-old Independence, Missouri trucker Wendell Gilpatrick, who died in the wreck, possibly during or after his yellow freight truck plowed into the westbound toll booth gates. A spokesperson for the Kansas Turnpike Authority says the heart attack likely caused him to lose control of the rig last night. One toll collector suffered minor injuries ducking down underneath. 2 damaged collection booths have been removed, and tonight the traffic lanes, which were closed and blocked up for more than a mile, have been reopened on the Kansas Turnpike. Opening night for what could be this year's JFK. It's Malcolm X, the much-hyped movie, dramatizing the life of the militant black leader. Director Spike Lee says children should see this movie as a school assignment. He was forced to see Gone with the Wind in school, he says. Despite all the publicity, lines here in Topeka were very short tonight. The epic lasts over 3 hours, so the local movie-going crowd might be waiting for the weekend. Coming up here on 13 News at 10, 48 hours. Tonight they examine the pornography controversy. How do you feel about banning porn at local businesses? We'll have the city line for you. And a peaceful, productive meeting between our president and future leader as the Clintons visit their new Washington home. On a steamy 48 Hours episode tonight, CBS was taking a look at the big business of porn in America. We brought the question closer to home in our City Line poll. We're asking whether Topeka movie and rental stores should ban X-rated videotapes. Most of you voted not to stop rentals or sales of the X-rated videos. As we check what you said in the City Line results, 40% said yes, they should be banned. 60% of you voted no. City Line results are not scientific. They only represent the views of the people who chose to call us. And we thank you, as always, for participating. Former Kansas Lieutenant Governor Dave Owen was back in the news, once again facing criminal charges. Owen was named today in a 2-count federal indictment accusing him of violating federal tax laws. Prosecutors say the indictment stems from an earlier investigation beginning while a similar state probe was still underway. That probe led to Owens entering a plea of guilty of making illegal campaign donations to Mike Hayden's 1986 campaign for governor. Now, Owen is accused of not reporting some of that money as income. Dave Owen calling the new indictment out today in Johnson County, Kansas, political harassment. The state's racing commission has agreed to allow 2 groups to build a dog racing track in southeast Kansas. Commission members ordered staffers to draft up the necessary licenses for the Racing Association of Kansas and Camptown Greyhound Racing out of Chanute. The 2 groups plan to spend more than $11 million to build a track just north of Pittsburgh along U.S. Highway 69. It's been a week ago this morning since fire broke out in the furnace room of Topeka Zoo's rainforest exhibit. Already efforts are bearing fruit to bring the forest back to its original state. Topeka's Veterinary Medical Association had a check signed by Dr. Joseph Kammer for $1,500. They're urging other vets to contribute as well. Zoo Director Hugh Quinn says insurance will take care of paying for repairs, but new ideas like alarm and sprinkler systems for the burned room and the forest dome can be paid for with these contributions. Mr. Clinton goes to Washington. Oh, this is not a movie. It really happened today as our present and future leaders met at the White House. Regina Blakely updates us on the president-elect's night in Washington.
President Bush and President-elect Clinton shook hands and then talked for almost 2 hours, evidence of the peaceful transition of power. Later, Mr. Clinton said the talks had been, in his words, fantastic, substantive with a focus both domestic and foreign. He even admitted asking for advice.
The American people should be very pleased. It was a very good meeting.
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
Mr. Clinton then took to the streets, a sign that he plans on keeping his campaign promise to stay close to the people. And the people loved it.
Invitation to come to our inauguration day?
Sure you can. What do you want? He wants an invitation to the inaugural. Oh, here she is.
But it wasn't all work for the president-elect, nor was he the only one in the spotlight. At a reception for the Children's Defense Fund, Mrs. Clinton took her turn at the microphone.
He and I have been privileged this year to once again realize there are millions and millions and millions of Americans who just really believe that their chance for the American dream is worth fighting for and working for. And they're willing to overcome lots of obstacles if only given some hope and some chance to do so.
Finally, Governor and Mrs. Clinton and Senator and Mrs. Al Gore were guests of honor at a Washington elite power broker dinner, where people once again line the streets to get a glimpse of the future first couple. Mr. Clinton will make the most of his time again tomorrow when he turns his attention to Congress, meeting with both the Democrats and Republicans on the Hill. Hillary Clinton visits Mrs. Bush at the White House as the transition continues from one president to another. Regina Blakely, CBS News, the White House.
Dave Relihan's weathercast has been approved by the American Meteorological Society.
Before Dave steps in regard to the Clinton story, the latest Time magazine, there's a little blip about Hillary Clinton cannot be his chief of staff. It's against the law.
Oh, is it?
There's a federal law against that. So if you were wondering, that's not going to be the case. Here's the chief of staff of our weather department. Whew, go right into it.
Nice segue around.
And just a very blustery, miserable day out there, Dave.
Yeah, unfortunately, temperatures were holding steady in the mid-40s. We didn't fall off into the 30s to make it any worse. And currently, we are still stuck in the mid-40s across northeastern Kansas. We have cloudy skies and fog in Topeka, 45 degrees, the humidity 96%. Conditions really the same as they were at 6 o'clock. The barometer falling winds are east to 12 miles per hour. However, we still have drizzle or light rain continuing over northeastern Kansas. Temperatures ranging from 48 at Emporia to 42 at Manhattan, and temperatures were steady throughout the day over a good portion of the state of Kansas. Coolest in the northwest, warmest in the southeast. 62 is the warm spot in the state at Coffeyville. We managed 45 here in Topeka. They barely got into the upper 30s across north-central Kansas this afternoon. As the cold air continues to plunge southward, it's already making the panhandle of Texas. And with all of this cold air in place and with warm, moist air riding up over the top of it, a lot of rain is stretching from Texas all the way up into Kansas. And the bad news is this batch of moisture is going to pass into and through the state. Once that's biased, this whole weather system is going to tap Gulf moisture and send more rain up into eastern Kansas and allow for some very, very soggy and most likely flooded conditions before it's all over. We were at 45 last hour, 61 at Oklahoma City, 65 at Dallas and Fort Worth, while temperatures in the northern plains at or below freezing, 33 at Minneapolis, 30 at Bismarck, North Dakota, with a little bit of light snow falling there. Rain has re-entered the northeastern sections of Kansas. The heaviest at this hour running from just northwest of Lawrence, just south of Topeka, back into central Wabaunsee County. That last batch falling apart over northeastern Kansas. But this is exactly what we're going to see, just round after round after round of rain that moves to the north and northeast at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. And rainfall amounts could be staggering. I've got one for you. We'll tell you that in just a moment. We do have a flood watch in effect for portions of the viewing area, including Wabaunsee, Osage, Lyon, Morris, and Chase counties, and all counties to the south. That will continue throughout the night tonight. And with rain continuing tomorrow, I would imagine that will be amended and possibly extended into northeastern Kansas as this weather system hangs tough in the central plains. Temperatures, fortunately, holding in the upper 40s to low 50s for highs tomorrow, while the colder air stays well to our north. We'll get a little break Friday. Rains possibly leaving by Friday afternoon. On its heels, another storm system that will bring another chance for rain to us over the weekend. The high this afternoon in Topeka, 45, the low 40, almost a third of an inch of rain has fallen so far. More is on the way, as we'll see periods of rain tonight with a low of 44. Tomorrow, rain is likely with a high at 48 degrees. We'll see light rain Friday, possibly ending by afternoon with a high at 47 after a low of 43. More rains on tap for Saturday. Another break from it Sunday and Monday, with rains returning on Tuesday. Most recent computer guidance indicates that between now and